This songwriter and producer was one of the unsung heroes responsible for the Motown sound's phenomenal success. As the label's first A&R director, he not only signed great talents like Martha Reeves, but also created the company's famed band of studio musicians, writing numerous perennial songs for artists such as Marvin Gaye and his wife Kim Weston. The centerpiece of today's video is all about William Mickey Stevenson. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born William Stevenson on January 4th, 1937, his mother was a singer and performer who performed with a large orchestra. When he was 7, Mom asked him and his siblings to appear in an amateur show at New York's Apollo Theater.
I was born in Detroit. I was born in a musical family. My mother was a singer, writer, dancer. She even played conga drums too, which was great. My dad was a tap dancer. At any rate, we were being trained to be in show business. And my sister, my brothers, Martin and Lonnie, and myself. Now my sister, she couldn't dance and couldn't sing. It's weird how that happens. When my other brothers, they were into it. And we were born at 426 Henry Street. Never forget that. I mean, in that place you could kind of keep your door open, talk to your neighbors, no problems. I wouldn't try that today. At any rate, we were in rehearsals all the time. And my mother would have a lot of entertainers come by, a lot of singers and dancers, and we'd have to perform for them. We'd work out our routines and they would look at us and see how we did and would applaud and all that. It was great. And she was grooming us for contests. And one of the main places we were headed for was the Apollo in New York. Now the Apollo in New York had the amateur show going there that was fantastic. And everybody in the black neighborhood for sure, all over the country, knew about the Apollo. Now, my mother was performing in New York, and she knew the guy who ran the amateur shows at the Apollo. I think his name was Cooper. So he put us on.
Following the Apollo event, his father purchased a bass guitar, which Stevenson later upgraded to a 6-string guitar. These instruments helped him create tunes. Stevenson began his career in gospel and doo-wop before joining the Tamla Motown crew in 1959 when he co-produced and arranged tracks for Marv Johnson, the label's first recording artist, and organized the company's house band. Installing pianist Ivory Joe Hunter as band leader, Stevenson brought together a truly remarkable group of Detroit area jazz and club musicians, including bassist James Jamerson, guitarists Robert White and Joe Messina, and drummer Benny Benjamin. Though their lineup changed frequently in the years to follow, the so-called Funk Brothers remained the bedrock of the Motown sound throughout the company's golden age. In 1961, Stevenson teamed with co-writer Barrett Strong to score his first major hit, Eddie Holland's Jamie, for the Marvelous Beachwood. He partnered with Motown Berry Gordy Jr., as well as recent roster addition Marvin Gaye. Weeks later, Motown published Gaye's first hit, A Stubborn Kind of Fellow, which Stevenson also co-wrote. Martha Reeves, Stevenson's secretary at the time, and her group, the Vandellas, provided backing vocals for the record. When singer Mary Wells did not show up for a subsequent session, Stevenson cut a record with Martha and the Vandellas instead, resulting in the group's 1963 debut, I Have to Let Him Go. That same year, the producer was the inspiration for the Miracles' hit song, Mickey's Monkey, Stevenson Gay, and Ivy Hunter worked together on Martha and the Vandellas' Dancing in the Street, which became his biggest songwriting hit with the label. Equally significant, at the same time, he hired Norman Whitfield as his AR assistant, ushering in one of Motown's most influential and successful staff producers. Stevenson's final significant success for Motown was 1966 classic, It Takes Two, a duet with Gaye and the producer's wife, Kim Weston.
Now we had a quality control setup. And what we did was, the procedure at the time was that we would assign, at the time was my job, would assign producers to artists. But what happened was, some producers or writers would come up with an idea that seemed to fit certain artists, more so than the assigned producer. So the job was to make sure that he would cut that tune his way, the assigned producer would cut his tune his way, and then we'd get in a meeting and we would listen and see which was the best tune, and we'd all make that same decision. I mean, we'd all listen, and if the song was the best song for that artist, no matter who produced or wrote that song would go out. And the hardest part was to see to it, if a producer was assigned a job, then basically he would probably get the B-side of that record. But the winning song was the song, no matter who wrote the song, no matter who produced the song. And that kept the competition rolling at all times. And when you hit a roll, as we say, like Holland Dozier did with the Supremes, or Harvey did with Marvin Gaye, or he did with the Temptations or the Velvelettes. And when you hit a roll, you wanted to keep with that producer. He had first priority on that situation. And it worked out great, you know. Sometimes you get an album, you may have 4 producers on one album, but they took their best shots, and it worked out great. That kept the competition rolling great inside.
In early 1967, Stevenson and Weston departed Motown to create their own label, People. That April, Weston signed with MGM, and her husband was given a reputed $1 million deal to take over the company's struggling venture division. Stevenson's Midas touch had faded by 1969, so he switched gears and composed the picture changes. He went on to create and produce other stage musicals, including Swan, Showgirls, Wings and Things, The Gospel Truth, TKO, and Chocolate City. He collaborated with fellow Motown alumni Smokey Robinson on 1999 Sang, Sister Sang, and homage to renowned vocalists such as Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, and Josephine Baker. On November 11, 2021, Stevenson got remarried to a woman named Michelle. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song that William Mickey Stevenson produced?